I never thought I'd end up here, sitting on this cold wooden bench, outside a grocery store, holding a paper cup, waiting for strangers to decide if I eat tonight or not. Funny thing is, I used to own a house bigger than this entire street. Yeah, life got jokes like that. And if you think this is just another sad old lady story, nah. You might wanna stay. 'Cause what happened to me, it ain't normal. My name is Martha Collins. Well, at least, that's what it used to be. Now people just call me ma'am, or worse, they don't call me anything at all. I'm 72 years old, born and raised in Ohio, back when neighbors still knew each other, and doors didn't need locks. I had a life once. A real one. A husband who kissed me every morning like it was his last day on earth. A son who used to run into my arms after school yelling, "Mama, guess what?" And a kitchen, oh Lord, that kitchen. It smelled like cinnamon and fresh bread almost every single day. That was my world. Simple. Warm. Safe. Until it wasn't. You ever notice how life doesn't break you all at once? Nah, it chips away at you, slowly, quietly, like it's trying not to wake you up. First, it took my husband. Cancer. 6 months. That's all it took. One day we were arguing about what color to paint the porch. Next thing I know, I'm holding his hand in a hospital room, watching machines breathe for him. I remember whispering to him, "Don't you leave me here alone, James." But he did. And when he did, it felt like the whole house went silent. Not quiet. Silent. Like the walls themselves were grieving. But I still had my son, Daniel. He was everything to me after that. Everything. I worked 2 jobs just to keep him in school, keep food on the table, keep that house alive. Waitressing during the day, cleaning offices at night. Yeah, your girl had hustle. Didn't matter how tired I was. I made sure he never felt what we lost. Or at least, I tried. Daniel grew up smart. Real smart. Got into a big college in New York. I still remember the day he left. He hugged me tight and said, "Don't worry, Mom. I'm gonna make you proud." And I believed him. God. I believed him so much. At first, he called every day. Then every week. Then just on holidays. Then nothing. You know how people say life gets busy? Yeah, that's what I told myself too. He's just busy. He'll call. He loves me. I kept repeating that like a prayer. But deep down, I knew something had changed. Years passed. The house got quieter. Bills got heavier. And my body, well, it wasn't what it used to be. I couldn't work like before. My hands would shake, my back would ache. And some days, just getting out of bed felt like climbing a mountain. But I never told Daniel. Nah. Mamas don't do that. We don't burden our kids. Even when we're breaking. Then one day, he showed up. After almost 3 years. Standing right there at my door, in a suit, looking like a stranger wearing my son's face. "Hey Mom," he said. Like nothing happened. Like time didn't just abandon us. I cried. Of course I did. I hugged him like I was trying to hold on to every year we lost. And for a moment, just a moment, I thought, my boy is back. But I didn't know. He wasn't back to stay. He came back. To take everything. That day was the beginning of how I ended up right here with this paper cup in my hand. One day my son sold me out. You ever feel something ain't right, but you ignore it? Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Daniel walked into that house like he owned the place. And I mean, yeah, technically one day it was gonna be his, but something about the way he looked around, it didn't sit right with me. Not love. Not nostalgia. More like evaluation. Like he was calculating something. "Mom, this place, it's kinda old, huh?" he said, running his fingers across the wall. I laughed a little. "Yeah, baby, it's called history." But he didn't laugh back. He just nodded, slow, like he already made up his mind about something. That night, I cooked his favorite. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans, just the way he used to like it. I was nervous, excited, hopeful, all mixed up into one. I kept looking at him while he ate, waiting for that little smile, that "this is good, Mom." But it never came. Instead, he said, "You shouldn't be living alone anymore." Now. I thought that was concern. I thought, oh, my boy still cares. So I smiled and said, "I'm okay, Danny. I've been doing just fine." But then he leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, and hit me with something I didn't expect. "No, Mom, you're not." The way he said it. It wasn't love. It wasn't worry. It sounded like judgment. "You can barely take care of this place," he continued. "And your medical bills? You think I don't know?" My heart dropped. "How do you?" "I checked," he said, cutting me off. "I had to." Had to? Since when does a son have to investigate his own mother? Then he pulled out some papers. Just like that. Didn't even ease into it. Didn't even pretend. Just straight business. "I've got a solution," he said. "You transfer the house to me. I'll handle everything. Bills, maintenance, all of it." I blinked. Slow. Confused. "You mean, like, temporarily?" He shook his head. "No, Mom. Permanently. It's just easier that way." Easier. That word hit me like a slap. "Danny, this house, your father built this. We raised you here." "I know," he said quickly, almost impatient. "And I'm trying to protect it." Protect it? From who? Me? I could feel something tightening in my chest. Not pain. Not fear. Something worse. Realization. Baby, why does it sound like you're trying to take my home? The room went quiet. And for a second, just a second, I saw it in his eyes. The truth. Cold. Sharp. Unapologetic. I'm trying to fix your situation, he said flatly. That's when I should have said no. That's when I should have stood up, told him to leave, told him this house wasn't just wooden walls. It was my life. But I didn't. You know why? Because I was still his mother. And mothers. We see what we want to see. Not what's really there. Will I still live here? I asked softly. He nodded. Of course. Of course. Those 2 words. They ruined me. A week later. I signed the papers. Voice cracks slightly. I didn't even read them properly. Didn't ask a lawyer. Didn't question anything. I just trusted my son. Big mistake. Biggest mistake of my life. At first, nothing changed. He stayed for a few days, fixed a couple things around the house, even hugged me before leaving. Everything's gonna be better now, Mom, he said. And like a fool, I believed him. But 2 weeks later, everything changed. There was a knock on my door. Not Daniel. A man. Suit. Briefcase. No smile. Ma'am, you need to vacate the property. I laughed. Actually laughed. You got the wrong house, honey. But he didn't laugh back. No, ma'am. This property has been sold. Sold. I felt the ground disappear under my feet. No, no, my son, Daniel, he owns this house. The man looked at his papers, then back at me. Yes. And he sold it. Voice slows, heavy silence. That's the moment. I stopped breathing. You have 7 days, he added. 7 days. To pack 40 years of memories. 7 days. To erase a life. I called Daniel. Over and over. Voicemail. 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 Finally, he picked up. Danny, what's going on? They're saying the house. I know, he said. Just like that. No emotion. No hesitation. You knew? I whispered. It was the best decision, he replied. Best decision. For who? I asked. Silence. Then. For me. That's when I realized. I didn't lose my house that day. I lost my son. I begged him. God. I begged. Danny, please, this is my home. I have nowhere to go. But his voice didn't change. Not even a little. You'll figure it out, he said. And then. He hung up. Just like that. A lifetime. Disconnected. 7 days later. I walked out of that house. With 1 suitcase. And no idea where my life was supposed to go. And now, here I am, sitting outside this grocery store, holding this little paper cup, hoping someone sees me, hoping someone cares. But the truth is, the only person I needed to care was the one who left me with nothing. You ever wonder what it feels like to lose everything in 1 week? Not just your house, not just your money, but your place in this world? I found out the hard way that last day. I stood outside my house, my home, holding one suitcase and a box of old photos. The same porch where my husband used to sit every evening. The same door my little boy used to run through screaming "Mama." Now it wasn't mine anymore. A young couple walked up behind me, laughing, holding hands, keys in their hand. "Excuse me, we just bought this place." Bought. That word again, like a knife that just wouldn't stop cutting. "Oh, yeah," I said softly, stepping aside. It's all yours." They smiled politely. Didn't know who I was. Didn't know what this house meant. Didn't know they were walking into someone else's entire life. And just like that, I became a stranger to my own memories. I walked. Didn't even know where I was going. Just walked. When you're young, walking feels like freedom. When you're old, it feels like you're running out of time. My legs hurt. My back screamed. But I kept going. Because stopping meant thinking. And thinking meant breaking. I ended up downtown. People everywhere. Cars. Lights. Noise. Life moving fast. Like I didn't exist. I sat on a bench, clutching my suitcase like it still meant something. I remember looking around, hoping, just hoping, someone would notice me. But nobody did. You know what hurts the most? It's not hunger. It's not cold. It's being invisible. Hours passed. The sun went down. And that's when reality hit me. I had nowhere to go. No house. No family. No plan. Just me. And the night. I tried calling Daniel again. One last time. Voicemail. I didn't leave a message this time. What was the point? You can't reach someone who already decided you don't matter. The temperature dropped. Wind started picking up. I pulled my coat tighter around me. But it wasn't enough. I saw people going into restaurants, laughing, eating, living. And I was out there, trying to figure out where I was gonna sleep. I thought about shelters, but I didn't know where they were. And honestly, I was scared. Not of people. Not even of the streets. I was scared of accepting it. Accepting that this was my life now. So I walked again. And that's when I saw it. A small alley. Quiet. Dark. Out of the way. I know. It doesn't sound like much. But when you've got nowhere, even a corner feels like something. I sat down, put my suitcase next to me, wrapped my arms around myself, and for the first time since all of this started, I cried. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet tears. The kind that fall when your soul is tired. I did everything right, I whispered. I loved him. I raised him. I gave him everything. My voice broke. Why wasn't I enough? That question. It echoed in that empty alley. Like the universe didn't even have an answer. Hours passed. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow looked like danger. That's the thing nobody tells you about being homeless. It's not just about not having a bed. It's about not feeling safe. Anywhere. Around midnight, I heard footsteps. My heart started racing. A man walked into the alley. Tall. Hoodie. Hands in his pockets. I froze. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. He looked at me. Really looked at me. And for a second, I thought, this is it. But then, he said something I wasn't expecting. Ma'am, you okay? Ma'am. Not hey you. Not move. Not nothing. Ma'am. I nodded quickly. Yeah. I'm fine. Even though I clearly wasn't. He frowned. You ain't fine. That sentence hit different. Because for the first time, someone saw through me. I got nowhere to go, I admitted. Voice shaking. He stayed quiet for a moment. Then he looked around. Like he was thinking. Hold on, he said. And walked away. I sat there. Confused. Scared. Hopeful. All at once. 10 minutes passed. Felt like forever. Then he came back. Holding a paper bag. He handed it to me. Food. I looked inside. A sandwich. An apple. A bottle of water. My hands started shaking. Thank you, I whispered. He nodded. Then did something even stranger. He sat down. Right there. On the cold ground. Next to me. You shouldn't be here, he said. I let out a small, broken laugh. Yeah. I figured that. He looked at me again. Serious. I mean it, this place ain't safe. I swallowed hard. I don't got anywhere else. He leaned back against the wall. Thinking. Then he said something. That changed everything. I might know a place. And that right there. That moment. Was the first time. Since I lost everything. That life. Gave me something back. But I didn't know yet. That this stranger. Was about to change my story. In a way. I never saw coming. You don't expect kindness when the world just took everything from you. So when that young man said, I might know a place, I didn't jump up. I didn't smile. I didn't feel relief. I felt suspicious. Because life had just taught me something real clear. People don't help for no reason. I looked at him carefully. You mean like a shelter? I asked. He shook his head. Nah, not like that. That made me even more nervous. Then what kind of place? I asked. He scratched the back of his head, like he wasn't sure how to explain it. Just somewhere you can crash. Safe. Warm. Crash. That word felt strange coming from someone talking to a 72-year-old woman. I tightened my grip on my bag. I don't got money, I said quickly. He looked at me, almost confused. I didn't ask for any. Silence. I didn't know what to say to that. Because in my world now, nothing was free. Not anymore. Why are you helping me? I finally asked. He didn't answer right away. Just looked down at his hands. Then back at me. Because somebody should. That's it. No big speech. No story. Just that. And somehow, that simple answer felt more honest than anything I'd heard in a long time. I hesitated. You gotta understand. When you've just been betrayed by your own blood, trust don't come easy. But then the wind hit again. Cold. Sharp. Merciless. And reality whispered, you don't got options. So I nodded. Slow. Okay. He stood up and offered his hand. Name's Marcus. I looked at his hand for a second. Then took it. Martha. His grip was warm. Steady. Real. Not like my son's handshake. That last day. Cold and distant like he was already gone. Marcus picked up my suitcase like it weighed nothing. Come on, he said. We walked. Through streets I didn't recognize. Past people who didn't see me. Past places I no longer belonged to. But something felt different. For the first time in days, I wasn't alone. We stopped in front of an old building. Not fancy. Not clean. But standing. This is it, he said. I looked up. Broken windows on one side. Flickering light above the door. You sure this is safe? I asked quietly. He nodded. Safer than that alley. Fair enough. He pushed the door open. It creaked like it hadn't been touched in years. Inside. It was dim. A few old couches. Some blankets. A small heater in the corner. And people. A couple of them. Not many. But enough to tell me. This wasn't just a place. It was a hiding spot for the forgotten. They looked up as we walked in. Some curious. Some tired. Some just empty. Marcus nodded at them. They cool, he whispered to me. I didn't say anything, just stayed close. He set my suitcase down near a couch. There, he said. You can rest here tonight. Tonight. He said it like it was temporary. Like this wasn't meant to last. I sat down slowly. My body felt like it had been carrying 1,000 pounds. Thank you, I said. And this time, I meant it deeper than before. Marcus shrugged. Ain't nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Not to me. Not anymore. I opened the paper bag he gave me earlier. Took a small bite of the sandwich. And I swear, it tasted like the first real food I'd ever had. Hunger does that. Pain does that. Get some sleep, Marcus said, grabbing a blanket and handing it to me. I took it. Wrapped it around myself. Warmth. Something so simple. Felt like a miracle. Marcus started walking away. Wait, I said softly. He turned. Why you really helping me? This time. He didn't avoid the question. He looked at me. Serious. My mom, he said slowly. She ended up like this too. My heart stopped. What happened to her? I asked. He looked away. Jaw tightening. People didn't help her. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Painful. I found her too late, he added. That's all he said. But I understood everything. I nodded. Didn't push. Didn't ask more. Some pain don't need details. You can feel it anyway. Marcus looked back at me. Not letting that happen again. And in that moment, a stranger became the only person in this world who cared whether I lived or died. That night, I lay down on that old couch, wrapped in a thin blanket, surrounded by strangers, in a broken building, and somehow, it was the safest I'd felt since I lost my home. But I didn't know yet that this place and this boy were about to pull me into something much bigger than just survival. Because sometimes, when you hit rock bottom, life ain't done with you. Sometimes, it's just getting ready to show you the truth. That night, I didn't sleep the way people usually do. It wasn't deep. It wasn't peaceful. It was the kind of sleep where your body shuts down, but your mind stays awake, just in case something goes wrong. Every little sound pulled me back. A cough. Footsteps. Someone turning in their blanket. But somewhere between all that noise, I realized something strange. Nobody here was dangerous. Broken? Yeah. Tired? Definitely. Lost? Every single one of us. But not dangerous. Morning came slow. A weak light slipping through cracked windows. Cold air still hanging in the room. I sat up carefully. My back protested immediately. Yeah. I'm still old, I muttered to myself. That's when I noticed them. The people. A woman sitting in the corner, braiding her own hair slowly. An older man staring at the wall like it owed him answers. A young guy, maybe early 20s, asleep on the floor with no blanket. Lives. Stories. Pain. All packed into one quiet room. Morning, a voice said. I turned. Marcus. He was leaning against the wall, arms crossed, like he'd been up for hours already. You sleep? He asked. A little, I said. He nodded. Better than outside. He wasn't wrong. I looked around again. Who are they? I asked softly. Marcus followed my gaze. People nobody came back for, he said. That sentence. It didn't just describe them. It described me. He pointed subtly. Her name's Lisa, used to be a nurse. The woman in the corner looked up slightly. Gave me a small nod. Then went back to her braiding. Over there, that's Hank. Vietnam vet. The older man didn't move. Didn't react. Just kept staring. And that kid, Marcus said, looking at the boy on the floor. Name's Tyler. Got kicked out when he turned 18. Still a child. Thrown into the world like trash. And you? I asked. Marcus smirked a little. I'm just the guy who didn't leave. Didn't leave. There was something heavy behind those words. Why not? I asked. He looked at me. Then looked around the room. Because if I leave, he said slowly. Who's gonna look out for them? I didn't say anything. Because suddenly, I understood something. This place wasn't random. It wasn't just a shelter. It was a last stop. Before people disappeared completely. And Marcus. He was the only thing standing between them. And nothingness. Y'all hungry? He said, clapping his hands lightly. That got everyone's attention. Lisa stood up. Tyler rubbed his eyes. Even Hank shifted a little. Marcus pulled out a small bag. Not much inside. Bread. Peanut butter. A few apples. That's all we got for now, he said. Nobody complained. Nobody argued. They just accepted it. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just poverty. This was survival. On the edge of being forgotten. Marcus handed me a piece of bread. I took it. Thank you. He nodded. We ate in silence. No phones. No distractions. No noise. Just people. Trying to make it through another day. And for the first time, since everything fell apart, I didn't feel completely alone. But peace don't last long in places like this. Around noon, the door slammed open. Loud. Aggressive. Wrong. Everyone froze. A man walked in. Big. Heavy boots. Mean look in his eyes. And just like that, the air changed. Marcus, he said. Not friendly. Not calm. Marcus stood up slowly. steady. What you want, Ray? He asked. Ray. The name alone felt like trouble. I told you last week, Ray said, stepping forward. This place ain't free. My stomach dropped. Money. Of course. Marcus didn't move. We don't got anything for you. Ray laughed. But it wasn't funny. Then y'all don't got a place to stay. Tyler stood up suddenly. We ain't going nowhere. Ray turned his head slowly. Smiled. That kind of smile. That makes your skin crawl. You want to test that, kid? Marcus stepped in between them instantly. Back off, Tyler. Tension filled the room. Thick. Heavy. Dangerous. I gripped my blanket tighter. Heart pounding. This was the reality of this life. Not just hunger. Not just cold. But people. Who take advantage. Because they know you got nowhere else to go. Ray looked around the room. Then his eyes landed on me. New target. Well, who's this? He said. I froze. Marcus stepped slightly in front of me. Leave her out of it. Ray smirked. Oh, she's special? Marcus didn't answer. That silence said everything. Ray chuckled. Then she pays. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Even here, even after losing everything, the world still wasn't done taking from me. But what I didn't know yet was that this time, someone was finally going to fight back. You know what fear feels like? When you got nothing left. It don't scream. It don't panic. It just sits inside you. Quiet. Waiting. Like it already knows how this ends. That's exactly how I felt. When that man, Ray, looked straight at me. Like I was just another thing he could take. Well, he said, tilting his head. She gonna pay or what? My hands started shaking. Not because of the cold. Not because of hunger. Because I had nothing to give. And for the first time, that truth felt dangerous. I said leave her out of it. Marcus stepped forward again. His voice was calm. But there was something under it. Something solid. Ray laughed again. You still playing hero, huh? Marcus didn't respond. Just stood there. Between me and him. And I don't know why. But that simple act hit me harder than anything else. Because nobody had stood in front of me like that. Since my husband died. Nobody. Ray cracked his neck. You think this is a game? He said, stepping closer. Tyler moved again. Marcus raised his hand slightly. Stay back. That tone. It wasn't a request. It was protection. Ray got right up in Marcus's face. You owe me, he said low. Marcus didn't flinch. Not like this. Ray's smile disappeared. Then like what? He snapped. Silence. Heavy. Then Marcus said something. That changed everything. We ain't paying you. Just like that. Clear. Final. You ever hear a moment break? That was it. Ray's face twisted. Anger. Ego. Control slipping. You think you got a choice, he said. Marcus leaned in just a little. And his voice dropped. Yeah. That one word felt louder than a scream. And then Ray pushed him. Hard. Marcus stumbled back a step. But didn't fall. Lisa gasped. Tyler stepped forward again. I couldn't move. Everything inside me froze. Because I knew what came next. Violence. Ray swung. Fast. But Marcus blocked it. The sound. Fist hitting arm. Echoed in that small room like thunder. They struggled. Shoving. Grabbing. Breathing heavy. Tyler jumped in. Stop it. Marcus pushed him back. I said stay out of it. That's when I realized. Marcus wasn't just protecting me. He was protecting all of them. Ray swung again. This time it connected. Marcus's head snapped to the side. I gasped. But he didn't fall. He stood there. Took it. Then slowly looked back at Ray. And what I saw in his eyes. It wasn't fear. It was something else. Something stronger. Leave, Marcus said. No anger. No yelling. Just certainty. Ray laughed again. But it sounded weaker now. You really want to do this? He asked. Marcus didn't move. Yeah. Silence filled the room. Ray looked around. At all of us. At the room. At the situation. And for the first time, he hesitated. Because power only works when nobody pushes back. And Marcus just did. Ray stepped back. Slow. This ain't over, he muttered. Marcus didn't reply. Ray looked at me one last time. Like he wanted to say something. But didn't. Then he turned. And walked out. Door slammed. Gone. And just like that, the room exhaled. Lisa sat down. Tyler ran his hands through his hair. Hank didn't move. I was still frozen. Marcus wiped his lip. A little blood. You okay? I whispered. He nodded like it was nothing. Yeah. I've had worse. Worse. What kind of life makes this normal? I looked at him. Really looked. This young man. With nothing. No money. No security. No comfort. Just stood up. Against someone stronger. For people who had nothing to give him back. And suddenly, something inside me shifted. All this time, I thought I lost everything. But sitting there, watching him, I realized something. Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't finished yet. Maybe My story didn't end on that bench outside the grocery store. Marcus sat down across from me. "You good?" he asked again. I nodded slowly. But this time, it meant something different. "Yeah," I said softly. Because for the first time since my son walked out of my life, I didn't feel weak. I felt awake. And I didn't know it yet. But that moment, that fight, that choice, was the beginning of me becoming someone I never thought I could be again. Not a victim, but something else. Something stronger. You ever reach a point where something inside you just clicks? Not loud, not dramatic. Just a quiet decision that says, "I'm not gonna be this person anymore." That's what happened to me. After Marcus stood up to Ray, I didn't say anything right away. Didn't make a speech. Didn't suddenly become strong overnight. But something shifted. Because for days, I had been sitting there, feeling like life was over. Like I was just waiting. Waiting for help. Waiting for kindness. Waiting for someone to save me. But Marcus, he wasn't waiting. He was doing something. And it made me realize something uncomfortable. I still could too. Yeah. I was 72. Yeah. I lost everything. But I wasn't dead. Not yet. That afternoon, I looked around that room again. Really looked. Lisa was trying to fix a torn sleeve with shaky hands. Tyler was staring at the floor, lost in his own thoughts. Hank hadn't moved much at all. And Marcus? He was sitting quietly, watching the door. Always watching. Always ready. Always carrying something. Nobody asked him to carry. That's when it hit me. He shouldn't be doing this alone. I took a deep breath, pushed myself up, and walked over to Lisa. "You got a needle?" I asked. She looked up, a little surprised. "Yeah, somewhere," she said. She handed it to me. I sat next to her, took the fabric, started stitching. My hands weren't as steady as they used to be, but they remembered. Years of sewing, fixing Daniel's clothes, mending things instead of throwing them away. It all came back. Lisa watched me quietly. "You're good at that," she said. I smiled a little. "Used to be better." She shook her head. "No, that's still good." And just like that, something small happened. I wasn't just someone being helped anymore. I was useful. And that feeling? It lit something inside me. I finished the sleeve, handed it back. "There you go." Lisa looked at it, then at me. "Thank you," she said. And I swear, that thank you felt different. Not pity. Not sympathy. Respect. I hadn't felt that in a long time. I stood up again. Looked around. Tyler. I walked over. You eaten enough? I asked. He shrugged. Yeah, I guess. I sat down next to him. You guess, or you sure? He looked at me. Like he wasn't used to someone asking that twice. I'm good, he said quietly. I nodded. You remind me of my son, I said. He didn't respond. But his posture changed. Just a little. Difference is, I added softly. You still got time to figure things out. He looked down. You think so? He asked. I didn't hesitate. I know so. Because if I didn't believe that, then what hope did I have? And then, Hank. I walked over slowly. Sat near him. He didn't look at me. Didn't acknowledge me. Just stared at that same wall. What do you see over there? I asked gently. No answer. But I didn't leave. Sometimes presence is louder than words. We sat like that for a while. Quiet. Still. And then, barely audible, he said, noise. I blinked. What kind of noise? I asked. He swallowed. War. My heart dropped. And suddenly, I understood. He wasn't staring at a wall. He was stuck somewhere else. Somewhere far away. That never let him go. I nodded slowly. You're safe here, I said. He didn't respond. But his shoulders relaxed just a little. And that was enough. I stood up again. Looked around the room. Different now. Not like strangers. Like people. And for the first time, since I lost everything, I felt something unexpected. Purpose. Marcus noticed. Of course he did. He always noticed everything. You moving different today, he said. I smiled slightly. Yeah. I think I am. He studied me for a second. Then nodded. Good, he said. That was it. But somehow, that approval meant more than anything. Because it wasn't given lightly. That evening, I helped organize what little food we had. Made sure everyone got something fair. Simple things. But important. And as I sat back down, watching everyone eat, I realized something powerful. I didn't need my house to have a place. I didn't need my son to have a family. Because sometimes, family ain't who you're born with. It's who stays when everything else falls apart. And right there, in that broken building, with people the world forgot, I found something again. Not my old life. Not what I lost. Something new. Something stronger. A reason to keep going. But I didn't know yet that the world outside was about to come crashing back in. And this time, it wasn't just gonna test me. It was gonna force me to face the one thing I wasn't ready for: my past. Life don't warn you when your past is about to walk right back into your life. It was a cold morning. Same broken building. Same people. But I wasn't the same woman anymore. I was helping Lisa organize supplies when Marcus walked in. Fast. Serious. Different. "You need to see this," he said. My heart dropped instantly. "What is it?" He didn't answer. Just handed me his phone. And there it was. A photo. A ribbon-cutting ceremony. Big smiles. Expensive suits. Cameras flashing. And in the middle of it all, Daniel, my son, standing in front of a brand new building. A shelter. A homeless shelter. I felt my chest tighten. "What is this?" I whispered. Marcus looked at me carefully. "He's opening shelters across the city," he said. I couldn't breathe for a second. The same man who threw his own mother on the street was now being praised for helping strangers. The world clapped for him. But I knew the truth. Or at least, I thought I did. "You ready for this?" "I'm taking you there," Marcus said. "No," I said quickly. Fear came back. Fast. "I don't want to see him." Marcus stepped closer. "You don't get closure by hiding," he said. Closure. That word hit deep. Because he was right. I had been surviving. But I hadn't faced the wound. I took a deep breath. Hands shaking again. But for a different reason this time. Okay. The confrontation. The building was beautiful. Clean. Warm. Safe. Everything I needed. When I had nothing. People were smiling. Praising him. Calling him a hero. Hero. That word almost made me laugh. Marcus stayed beside me. Silent support. And then Daniel turned and saw me. Everything stopped. The noise. The crowd. The world. Just me. And the boy I raised. His face changed. Shock. Guilt. Fear. Mom. That word felt unfamiliar coming from him now. I stepped forward. Slow. Steady. "You remember me?" I said. His eyes filled instantly. "Mom, No," I raised my hand. "You don't get to start like that." Silence. All eyes on us now. "You sold my house," I said. "Left me on the street." My voice didn't shake. "Not anymore. And now, you stand here, acting like a savior?" People started whispering. Confused. Daniel looked around. Then back at me. "It's not what you think," he said. A part of me wanted to scream. But I didn't. "Then explain," I said. "The truth." He took a deep breath. I was broke, Mom. I frowned. After college, I messed up. Bad investments. Debt. I stayed quiet. They were gonna take everything, even that house. My heart skipped. So I transferred it, sold it, to pay it off. I felt anger rise again. You could have told me. I was ashamed, he snapped. Silence. Then his voice broke. I thought, if I fixed everything first, then came back, you'd be proud of me. Proud. I used that money to build something better, he continued. These shelters, they help people like me? I cut him off. He couldn't answer. Because we both knew. He didn't help me. The moment that defined everything. You left me, I said quietly. Not angry. Not loud. Just truth. And somehow, that hurt more. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. I know, he whispered. Silence. Heavy. And then, everyone waited. For me. Because this was it. The moment. The choice. Revenge. Or forgiveness. My decision. I looked at him. Really looked. Not the man in the suit. But the boy. Who used to run into my arms. The one I raised. The one I loved. The one who broke me. And I realized something. Holding on to anger was the only thing still keeping me in that alley. I took a deep breath. You didn't just lose your house that day, I said. He looked at me. You lost your mother too. His face collapsed. And I turned. Like I was about to walk away. Because part of me still wanted to. But then, I stopped. Because I remembered something Marcus said. Don't let it end like that. I closed my eyes. And made the hardest decision of my life. I turned back. I forgive you. The room went silent. But that doesn't fix what you did. He nodded. Crying now. I know. If you want me back in your life, I continued. You don't prove it with buildings. I stepped closer. You prove it, by not walking away again. The real ending. Months passed. That broken building? Gone. Replaced. By a real shelter. Warm. Safe. Run by people who actually care. Lisa works there now. Helping others. Tyler? Back in school. Hank? Still quiet. But not alone anymore. Marcus? Still watching over everyone. But this time, he's not doing it alone. And me? I didn't go back to my old life. Because that life is gone. But I built something new. Stronger. Not a house. A home. And sometimes, Daniel visits. Not as a hero. Just as a son. Trying to earn his place again. I still sit outside sometimes. Not with a cup. But just to watch people. And remind myself that losing everything doesn't mean your story is over. Sometimes it's just where it finally begins.